last night's pairings and tonight's pairings? Do you sit down after, and how do you guys decide that?
I think, the upper management, they decide kind of who they'd like to see play, and they allow us, I guess, to throw down some combinations that we may think, and then from there we sit and talk about maybe we can flip a couple guys here and there. So it's more of a joint effort putting people together, and of course you look for some guys that have offensive flair that maybe you can put together and see if you can build some chemistry. So that's kind of what it's all about, what it's come down to so far.
So tonight, putting Bennett with Gaudreau, I mean, having him yesterday with Arnold, what are you looking to see from those guys?
Well, I think everybody knows they're offensive players, so you're looking to see if there's some chemistry. I thought in development camp in particular, the little scrimmages that we did have, they played very well together. So we'll see if they can pick up kind of where they left off, and I think having Michael Furlan on their other wing gives them that bigger body that is the ability to play with skilled guys. So I'm looking forward to see what that line can do tonight, and hopefully they have a good night for us.
Sorry to make you repeat yourself. I know you talked about Keegan Kenic last night, but just speaking with him today, he's stressing the physical side. How do you find that balance with those players, that they make sure they're in position and covering and also getting those hits in?
Well, I think the more they play, they understand when they can and when they can't be physical. I mean, there's a role certain players have to play. He knows his role, but at the same time, if he's running around taking himself out of position, it's not going to look very good on him. So over the course of time, I think you learn your boundaries. And the one thing you like about him, every time there's something going on, he's the first guy in there, but he rarely takes a penalty. And I think that's important because he does add that bit of toughness and a presence to our team, and he's not doing it in an undisciplined way, and I think that's important.
How have you seen him develop, I guess, going back mostly to your time in Kelowna? We see lots of scouts always love the numbers, the size and the weight and the body fat or whatever, but how have you seen him kind of develop as a player?
Well, I don't want to, it's tough as a 16-year-old, opposing coaches, we put scouting reports together for our players and stuff. And I questioned him a lot of times. Then he came back as a 17-year-old, and he was a totally different guy. They paired him with the young Hickett's boy there, and they were typically most nights their best defensive pair. So from one year to the next, he changed pretty significantly, and I think a lot of that's to do with the coach that he had there, but also the player himself. Like, he put in a lot of work, and as I've gotten to know him over the last little while, I haven't seen too many guys work harder than him. So the progressions that he's made, it makes you kind of look down the road and see what he's going to be capable of, because he does work so hard. And as I said last night, I thought he played real well.
A lot of young guys struggle to play their size, I think, if that makes sense. There's a lot of 6'6" players that coaches say, I need him to play like he's 6'6". Does he have that part figured out already?
I think he does. And I think a lot of that, you go back to former coaches. I think you go back to his experiences. But he understands what he is already. He's going to be a guy that's going to be a hard to play against, stay-at-home defenseman. And he's okay with that. And I think when you have a player that realizes what he has to do to get himself to that next level, and he accepts that role, then there's only good things to come for him. And I feel like Keegan's in that, I guess, that boat, if I can say that. Other thing with him, though, he really tries to do things the right way. So you want to activate your back end, he'll jump into the play. And I think that's great that he has that confidence in himself to be able to do that as well.
Brian, on the topic of Victoria guys that you've seen a lot of the last couple of years, what do you think of Austin Carroll last night?
I thought he played well. Another big-bodied guy that's hard to play against. And when you look at the MO or the identity of the team here in Calgary, we want to be a team that's hard to play against, and he's another one of those players. And from me seeing him, he's got an offensive side too. Like, he can drive defensemen wide and get himself hard to the net. He plays the game with no fear. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he progresses over the course of this camp, and we'll see if he's better than he was last night. And I thought he had a good first game.
Was he a guy that you saw make big strides in the Western League from one year to the next? A guy who became a 30-plus goal guy last year?
Well, I think from him in particular, the first few games he played against us, he played hard and with edge, so we kind of took notice of him right away. So he was always in our scouting reports in a positive manner, and he continued to do that against us. Our players didn't want to play against him because he played hard, and really that's kind of what we're trying to get guys to do here, and do it in a smart way, and I think Austin has that ability.
Mason McDonald admitted that he's pretty nervous going into his first game. Will you talk to him to try to settle him down a bit?
I'll talk to him beforehand, but I think for goaltenders, best thing sometimes to do is leave them alone. We have 2 great goaltending coaches here that have talked with him. He's excited to play. There will be some nerves. Hopefully he gets a few shots early on and he's able to handle them fairly easily, because I think if that happens, he'll settle right in. I think he'll do a great job for us tonight.